I'll do.
Okay. Do you want me
Denise, can everybody hear me? Yeah. All right. I was getting nervous about the sound kind of thing going on here. First of all, y'all, thank y'all for coming out. Thank you for coming out. And can we have another hand for Vanessa? Because Vanessa. And I want you to understand kind of the background tradition that I come from. You know, so I come from Black, inner city churches kind of thing. So I'm used to like feedback while I'm talking. It doesn't have to be anything big, you know, like that laugh, that works. That works. I just need to know that we're in this together. Because what we're talking about, you know, as Vanessa mentioned, we're talking about dynamic systems. All right, we're talking about things working together, right? So I'm here to have a conversation with you. I still am going to ask you to hold our questions to the end, but it's more like a conversation with you. You know, I don't want this just to be me. I'm actually going to take my water. I don't want it to be like me pouring water into an empty cup. And yeah, we're going to do the disclaimer on the Hershey's right here, and slavery involved in chocolate and stuff like that, right under my muscle. Vanessa laid a beautiful framework in terms of presenting the evidence that we have at this point that basically, you know, eating more fruits and vegetables, actually good. All right, and that there is evidence-based studies to basically back that. And the title of my presentation is Living Off the Earth, Eating Herbs and Fruit. Now for those who are real savvy, it's a line from an X-Clan rap group back in the day. They had a line where one of their lines was, you know, stomping, walking in big black boots, living off the earth, eating herbs and fruits. All right. The reason I offer this though is my whole talk is about diversifying the plant-based nutrition narrative to understand that many times the way that it's presented to inner city or urban communities, and I'm going to tell you why I all the time don't use that term, it's presented as though you're bringing something into the community. Here I am bringing plant-based, I'm going to say, here we are. Instead of interacting with the community and drawing from their own traditions that are within the community and developing plant-based narratives. Because, let's face it, modern America is pretty much the only place where we eat as much meat as we do. That's just a fact. You know, historically, if you look at various different groups worldwide, the foundation, or pretty much the crux of their whole diet, is plant-based. So to go into these communities and say, I got something that you guys ain't never heard about before, is kind of a problem. All right. So we're just going to talk about diversifying the plant-based nutrition narrative so that you can see various different avenues to come to the same conclusion. You can see various different ways to have the same results that you want to get, but just come from the left or come around the back road or come from that front road that you didn't want to go through because someone told you not to go there. All right. Oh, and so the Hood Health Handbook is, I have some copies here for outdoors if you want to purchase. In 2010, we realized that no one, at least from our perspective, was speaking to our community in terms of translating information in a way that was digestible. So he wanted to speak basically the language of the people. All right? And so that's where we came up with the Hood Health Handbook. And one reason, before I even progress, one reason I tend not to use urban, even though it's in the title when we, the subtitle of this, is because urban also is one of those terms that's being like commodified, you know? Like now you have like urban radio. What was urban radio when I was growing up was just black and brown music. You know, but then it became marketable, it became extract the cool factor, because it's urban now. And take away all the foundation of what was in these people's lives to make this music. And so now you find, you know, if you can go up online, you can go up on meetup groups and things, you'll find people will just throw urban in front of anything. They'll have urban yoga, goat yoga, beard yoga, you know, and all these kind of things that are extracting, but one, not dealing with the root issues that they're supposed to be dealing with, but two, making money off of the backs and the works of Black and brown people. Okay, who is this guy? That's me. In a peach veneer kind of thing. Looking thoughtlessly in the sky. From New Haven. I was born in Chicago, but I grew up here since I was like 3. So I'm from New Haven. I grew up in New Hallville. If you are actually going to school in New Haven and you don't know where New Hallville is, after this little thing, go into Google Maps and do that whole kind of look to figure it out. Because dynamic systems, all right? People are sick, not just in and of themselves. They belong to certain communities, certain neighborhoods, cities. So down the line when you graduate, wherever you are, those are elements that you need to bring into your own practice. You know, you need to figure out where people are from. How is it where they're from? What are the factors that are involved in the neighborhoods and the communities that they're from? I'm a practitioner of a plant-based diet with a heavy dose of huruma, which is Kiswahili for compassion, or ahimsa. I tend to stray away from utilizing vegan for myself. I will use it, especially in the hashtag, if I can push my message a little more, you know? And I've been so pretty much at different levels since I was in high school. I pretty much got off cheese when I was in high school because someone told, I had bad asthma growing up, bad asthma. I had this ugly pink medicine that, I remember one time taking on the George Washington Bridge, I was having an asthma attack and it still in my mouth. I had an inhaler also, okay? But I was the fastest kid on Thompson Street in New Hallville. Don't let anybody else tell you that. I was the fastest, all right? And I wasn't ever gonna stop running, so I ran in middle school, running, asthma attack, you know. And once I got into high school, I was like, oh, I really want to be on this track team. I was on the track team with the inhaler. Yes, someone told me, and I forget to this day, I don't remember who they said, you know, if you cut down some dairy, that'll help with your asthma. I was like, oh, word? I threw all dairy out the door. Got off medicine. You know, I was off my inhaler. I was off that nasty, pink, nasty stuff. I was off all my medicine and came all state, you know, in my senior year. So, nice. For me, it wasn't so much about a political platform. It was more like, oh, that'll do that? Let me experiment. Oh, that'll do that? Oh, let me experiment. And the same progression happened in terms of me divorcing myself from various meats. You know, I got to go between my junior and senior year in high school. They have a program here in New Haven where students were able to go abroad for a summer. So my junior and senior year in high school, I spent the summer in Kenya, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique. And for one of the places they took us to a slaughterhouse. Yeah, I have a picture. I didn't put it up here because it's graphic, but it's me in the slaughterhouse in the white coat and everything next to, you know, slaughtered cattle. And the look on my face, you know, like, oh, that's the moment that he did it. That's the moment right there that I said it was no more. And I'm also a co-creator of this HoodHealth platform. So the 4 pillars of what we utilize for HoodHealth is that it acknowledges that racial health disparity exists, which basically, you know, as Vanessa said, some people have access to stuff, some people don't have access to stuff, all right? And the reason why is not just some, oh, that's just how it is. It's actually structures that were put in place for a particular reason and that they're kept in place for a particular reason also. We acknowledge that racial health disparity is an operational manifestation of institutional racism. All these things intersect, all these things are interrelated. You don't shy away from talking about it because when you don't talk about it, it still festers, it lingers. And y'all medical students, you know when it festers and lingers, what happens? You know, we're solutionary. it's solutionary. So what we mean by that is that we talk about all this stuff, talk about all the problems, but at the end, we gotta talk about solutions and how we're gonna implement them, put them on timetables, see what works, what doesn't, go back to the drawing board and do it again, right? And we don't have enough time to just be talking about theories. A lot of people are dying, a lot of people are sick, a lot of people are suffering, and we don't have time to just be like, oh, this is my theory kind of thing going on. And we speak the language of the people who need to hear the message. So what we use a lot for Hood Health, you know, if anybody follows me on IG or anything like that, we utilize the framework of hip hop, because that's the generation and framework that I came in through. We also utilize it because the cross section of many people in hip hop are from the same communities that I'm from. And so I'm talking about Black and brown people, Black, indigenous, people of color. You know, so we utilize that language because also a lot of these issues, these health issues and health concerns, they are reflected in hip hop, whether it's by the health of the MC, the DJ, or by the topics that they choose to talk about. So it becomes a great way in order to link with people and able to communicate what we're trying to get across them. All right. I love that standard American diet is sad. I've always loved that since the beginning, and whoever was the one who coined it, all right. So it's sad, all right? So this is like a generalized kind of, you know, definition. All right. It's basically the modern, you know, dietary pattern that we have right now. And as Vanessa went in before, it's like the antithesis of, you know, a plant-based diet, you know, prepackaged foods, the butter, the fried foods, you know, refined grains, you know, the high fructose corn syrup, you know, all that, part of that diet, all right? It's in two phases, though. The first phase where it happened is the Neolithic Revolution, okay? So this is when you really had, you know, a lot of the jumps in agricultural technology, all right? So this comes around when, you know, corn becomes a staple crop, wheat becomes a staple crop, things of that nature. So that's one phase of it. But the real hammer to it is the Industrial Revolution, you know, and that's also already covered in terms of, you know, like I said, the antithesis in terms of what is healthier. You know, we talk about unprocessed fruits, nuts, vegetables, whole grains, you know. We love putting in poultry and fish, you know, because even though the thing about the Hood Health diet is even though I myself am plant-based, it's not something I come out the door with the communities that I walk with. You know, if I can get a person really just to eat some more whole grain foods, it's a win. You know, my diet doesn't have to be the standard for them, you know.
Yeah.
Now, this is the other part that they won't talk about, all right? Once again, things do not pop out of the sky, okay? So you can have many people many times talk about the standard American diet, it's bad, you know, yada, 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 but they don't want to talk about how it came into existence, all right? So, I love science fiction, all right? So you know the antithesis of a utopia is like a dystopia, okay? I'm gonna put it right there, all right? It's a white people word that means, what if all this stuff happens to us? And the reason I say that is because the way that many issues are framed, whether you're talking about environmentalism or whether you're talking about health concerns, are talked about, if we don't do this now, down the line, this is gonna happen, all right? But the reality is that a lot of communities of color are already living in dystopias.
Yeah.
That peachy picture where you saw me looking off the thing, I was down actually in El Paso. I was part of a conference, the Colonization of People Everywhere conference, dope conference. And they took me on a toxic tour, all right? There was a metal refinery right here. The fence was about 6 feet high. And the metal in it, though, was about a yard, 2 yards above the fence. And you literally could see the particles in the air. Literally could see like metal particles in the air. Right here was the elementary school. Literally right across the street. They're not looking, they don't need a sci-fi show to tell them about a dystopia. All right, they're actually living in the reality. You know, so this is sort of the framework that we also have to realize that, you know, a lot of things that we're projecting are actually happening to people now, people are suffering now, and people are dying now. And these communities many times aren't giving the voice or access to the stage in order to tell that. Also, a big part of Hood Health is reframing language. Reframing language. When I grew up, our history books always framed the period from Christopher Columbus discovering America to like the end of World War, the two phases, like the age of discovery. Like Europe discovers the whole world because they didn't know they were there. All right, so the age of discovery. And then afterwards, pretty much during the Industrial Revolution, pretty much during the period of colonization, you have the age of empire. But the communities that you're dealing with have a different perspective. For them, many times, it's an age of genocide, or it's an age of slavery, or it's an age of invasion. It's important, even if you do not fully commit to agreeing with certain terminology, to understand that your perspective is not the only perspective. And that, then you can have dialogue. You know? Also, once again, language. We utilize terms food apartheid versus food deserts or food swamps. All right? Food deserts, desert, and swamp, those are natural. You've been to the deserts? That's pretty nice. You know what I'm saying? They got life going on, you know, got survival going on, they got beautiful flowers, cactuses. If you never had no palace, oh my God. If you ever had no palace, it's cactus. Good. There's a lot of things going on in the desert. There's a lot of things going on in swamps, and they're natural. Therefore, when you refer to these things, you know, in terms of talking about food as natural, then they've always been there. They're always going to be there, you know, and they're not natural. Once again, we utilize the term food apartheid because these particular structures, these systematic things were put in place for a reason, and they're kept in place for a reason. All right. And one of the in terms of the history, one of the big things is like why are fast food places so prevalent in the communities of people of color? Well, there's actually historical reason for that. You know, when Nixon basically, he offered a whole bunch of business loans to black communities, you know, in the late 60s, early 70s. Okay. And guess who jumped up and took advantage of those? Fast food places. They took advantage of those loans and utilized that to promote their businesses, offering it under the guise of promoting entrepreneurship to black and brown communities. So the loan money actually went to them. You know, and then there's also other issues that, you know, I don't really have a lot of time to go into, but there's the same way that we have redlining of communities in terms of loans that were provided only to, you know, white people in terms of to buy houses and basically lock black and brown people out of certain areas. The same thing actually happened. There's actually redlining in grocery stores too. So there's a whole big subsection of that in terms of reasons why particular grocery stores are placed in certain areas. You know, you can even look at it now in terms of how it is in New Haven and structure right now. Actually, in New Haven now, we probably have more grocery stores right now than I remember growing up. But it was interesting. I grew up in New Hallville, right? So the closest grocery store was in the next town over, which was Hamden, which was a Stop and Shop, which isn't there anymore. But literally, the next town over was the closest grocery store. You know? And we always called that the hood Stop and Shop. Because if you go to that one, you get different food than if you go to the Stop and Shop that's all the way in the interior of Hamden, in terms of quality of food. And then also, we also knew that if you go into Amity, there's the Amity Stop and Shop. You know, same thing, different quality, you know, of food. So like I said, there's a reason for all these things, and these things all pretty much the same thing. The SAD diet, Standard American Diet, there's other things that come along with what put it in place. First thing that happened, and I'm pairing it with, I can call it the missionary diet, I'll call it the invasive diet, I call it the disruptive or invasive diet. Because certain things happen that also lay the groundwork for the standard American diet to come fully into place. The conquistadors in Mexico and in America, they restricted the growing of certain indigenous foods. So